It's not enough just to think, well, maybe he was a good guy or whatever. He made claims like, if you see me, you see the Father. I've come down from heaven to do the Father's will. The rest of us are just born, you know. I've come that all may honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. Think about that. John 5:23. If I said that to you, hey, Darren, I would like some respect here. Think about me the way you think about God. That's all. You think this guy's loony. All over the place, Jesus is talking like that. He puts himself in the position, and most people say, it was common for rabbis to say, blessed are you if you suffer for Yahweh's sake, or for Israel's sake, or whatever. But Jesus says, blessed are you when you suffer for my sake. And it's just remarkable. It's just remarkable. And so I think the decision before us is we've got enough of the history of what we know Jesus was about and the claims he made, and it forces the decision that either he's telling the truth or he's nuts. And if he's nuts, you've got to wonder how he was so good at convincing his disciples that he was more than that, that he was divine. How do you convince? Think about this. How do you convince a bunch of first-century Palestinian Jews who are Orthodox, monotheistic Jews? They recite their Shema Israel every morning. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one God. These disciples, one of the most fundamental features of their faith was that God is God and humans are humans, and never the two will meet. Precisely because all the pagans had all their little, deities, and humans who evolve into divinity or whatever, and the Jews want nothing to do with that. And yet here's this Jesus. He somehow, when he's finally off the scene, his disciples say, this guy whom they knew. This isn't a story told long ago and far, far away. This is a guy we knew. His brother is among the group of disciples. His mother is here. This guy, we believe, was the embodiment of Yahweh, as N.T. Wright puts it. I think it's a great way to express the New Testament's view of Jesus. He embodies Yahweh against everything their culture would have ever taught them to believe. This would be the hardest thing to convince them of, and yet Jesus convinces them of that, so that they're praying to him and talking to him and calling upon him and applying divine attributes to him, and all the things that the Old Testament applies to Yahweh, they apply to Jesus. How did he do that? Well, if the gospel authors actually tell us how he did that, they say he spoke with unprecedented authority. He made these divine claims for himself. He had these miracles. He did these miracles, and he died and rose from the dead and appeared to us. Now, I would think it would take something about that incredible to convince these Orthodox monotheistic first-century Palestinian Jews that Jesus was divine. And so they tell us why they believe this. We have to, if we're going to disagree with them, if we're going to say, no, you're wrong, I think it's incumbent upon us to then offer a counter-explanation. If they're not believing this just because Jesus was the way that they say he was, then what was Jesus like that convinced them, that fooled them, I guess, that he was that way?